This is the Achilles tendon insertion, and back here is a retrocalcaneal bursa. This is a fluid-filled sac that prevents your Achilles tendon from rubbing up against the heel bone. So you can see Achilles tendon right here detaches and you have a heel bone. Put it on the retrocalcaneal back burner, but to put it on the forefront, get it healed starting now. Here's what the symptoms feel like. In the back of your heel, you're going to have red, hot, swelling pain. It's very similar to insertional Achilles tendinitis, but Achilles tendinitis is about 2 to 6 centimeters above your heel. So if you feel where your heel is, 2 to 6 centimeters above is where the Achilles tendon is going to be, but you can see where it attaches right here. That's where the bursa is. So the bursa prevents the Achilles tendon from rubbing up against the heel. So the tighter your Achilles tendon, the more it rubs up against the heel. The retrocalcaneal bursa is a fluid-filled sac. So it's almost like a lubricated sac between the heel bone and the Achilles tendon, and it stops them from rubbing and creating friction. If it's swollen and agitated, that means it's working too hard. The most common causes are overuse. So this is people standing on their feet 12 plus hours a day. Nurses, teachers, factory workers, people on hard floors. This is athletes, long distance runners, people who push off, sprinters. Any type of athletics can have it. You're more likely to have it if you don't properly stretch, if you're tight in one leg compared to another, especially kids when they start turning 12, 13. There's a kid version of this which has to do with your growth plate, but that gradually goes away. In adults, it's more of a retrocalcaneal bursitis. You're more likely to get this if you have a poor warm-up, if you're older, close to 65, if you don't really stretch well or aren't flexible or have prior injuries, if you have tight muscles, or if you have a very hard job, you can get this. This is the heel bursa region. This is the Achilles tendon right here. And this is the heel bone that it attaches. So the heel bone starts here and ends right here. This right here, you can see there's some redness right here. So that's the bursa. And that right there is also the bursa right there. So where the groove of the heel bone starts, you can see between the Achilles tendon and the heel bone, this is a sac that tries to prevent friction. But if there's a bump, if there's a prominent bone, when the leg is positioned forward, the angle gets a lot tighter. The Achilles tendon is pushing against the bursa. This is when there's a lot of rubbing and agitation to the bursa. If you're tight, you can see, if I'm tight like this, there's more pressure right here, right now. In this picture, you could see that the tibia and the Achilles tendon are fairly parallel, and there's minimal pressure on the bursa with good flexibility. Whereas when I'm back like this, there's almost no pressure back here. And with the heel raised, you can see it's almost negative pressure at this point. This is why women feel great in high heels, but unfortunately in the big toe in front of the foot. The way to diagnose retrocalcaneal bursitis is to go see a podiatrist. I'm biased as a podiatrist, but what we do is we assess you biomechanically, and almost always one hamstring, one hip, one knee, one calf muscle, one ankle is tighter than the other. So we work hard on resolving those biomechanical deficiencies. Number 2, you want to get an x-ray because you may have a huge heel spur. So a heel spur can happen in the back right here, right where the bursa is. So a spur on a bursa and Achilles tendon insertion pain is not a great combo. So an x-ray can sometimes help. If we suspect split tearing or damage to the Achilles insertion, we get an MRI. Or in the office, I like to do an ultrasound since we have one available. If there is significant damage, here's what we do treatment-wise. Treatment for the retrocalcaneal bursitis. First, we like to start light. Most people don't need surgery or medications. But number 1, you want to start cooling down the inflammation. So ice, anti-inflammatories, and cross-training. I'm a huge fan of using a bike for a little while. So you don't need to run. You don't need to do anything crazy if that's what damaged your foot. Use a bike to exercise. You can swim to exercise. And as that inflammation starts coming down with ice and stretching, you start working on your flexibility. I like to think of the Achilles tendon almost like a frozen elastic. You can't take it out of the freezer and start stretching it. You have to first let it sit on the counter as a massage roller. Studies show that if you take this and you massage the calf muscle right here for 1 to 2 hours, it gets the inflammatory fluid out of there, and that's a great time to do some stretching. So first you massage it out with a roller or a foam roller, and then you stretch. That's where studies show you get a lot of benefit. The massage, there's no permanent benefits of massage rolling. It just kind of loosens you up for a while so that you can stretch and get through your workout. So after you take down your inflammation and you start stretching and you start cross training, you gotta get a good pair of shoes. So not that this is the world's best pair of shoes right here, but this is good enough right here. Shoes need to be supportive. They need to be stiff in the middle. They need to have a stiff heel, and they need to have a flexible front. There are minimalist shoes, but I don't recommend it in this case, unless you're a great athlete already. If you're a great athlete, we have a great minimalist shoe guide that can help you out right here. So this is, if you think you can run like a 5K or more, maybe consider minimalist shoes. But if you're older, if you're stiffer, if you're really sore, orthotics. So a great orthotic right here, you can see there's over-the-counter orthotics. So right here, less pressure, but you can still have more. But see, I can't rotate as far, and the angle, so the 90-degree angle right here to right here is intact, whereas with this, you could see it's even more supported. It's even more supported. The one thing orthotics do really well as shoes, they get you out of this tight position where you have to twist your foot and lean the tibia forward, and they straighten you out more. So with a good shoe, look at how straight you are, and with a good insert, this is what they reapproximate. They don't work great in high heels because no matter what, you're going to have forefoot pressure, even if your Achilles tendon feels better. Right now, that's not a lot of stress on the Achilles, but right there, that's rubbing. The bursa's rubbing. So see, without an insert, I can rub back and forth, and the Achilles tendon is rubbing and twisting across the heel. Whereas with an over-the-counter insert, it's a lot harder to twist. And with the insert, it's even harder to twist. So you can see not as much pressure, and the heel is pretty straight up. Whereas without the insert, you can see I can buckle out quite a bit. So the heel bursa is pressing right there. So little pressure. Pretend I'm on a bump. There's less pressure right there, whereas now there's more pressure, but the insert prevents me from bending like that. That's the heel bursa right there. So a good over-the-counter orthotic, you can see, supports your arch, and it keeps your heel a little bit elevated so your foot doesn't twist around. So the foot doesn't twist around in the front, and the Achilles tendon doesn't stretch as much. So what happens is, this is a great insert. It'll take a lot of pressure off your retrocalcaneal bursa. As you get used to an over-the-counter orthotic, you might want to upgrade to an even stronger custom insert. Most people don't need to. I'd say only like 1 out of 5 people need to ever upgrade to a custom insert, but there's no doubt it helps out even more. You're anti-inflammatorying it up, you're getting the inflammation down, you're stretching, you're cross-training, you have great shoes, you have great orthotics. What's next? So this is when you can do things like physical therapy potentially. You're using your massage roller to help out. And what you want to do is potentially get an ankle brace to help out. And a compression brace is a great start first because it's easier to put on. A stability brace is even better, but what happens with the stability brace, it's harder to put on. In my experience, not a lot of people want to wear that because they hate putting it on. It's a lot of laces, it's a lot of strap. And lastly, if the MRI comes back and you're seeing your podiatrist and there is true damage, like a really bad heel spur, you could potentially remove that heel spur surgically. You don't want to steroid inject your Achilles tendon insertion. You can inject it with other stuff like PRP, prolotherapy works really well, but you don't want to use steroids in your Achilles tendon. And then lastly, you could remove that spur, or you could go in a boot or a cast. That will cool it down. Almost everybody gets better by this point. Hey, guess what? We have a phenomenal book.
I believe this is the premier book on chronic nerve pain and peripheral neuropathy pain on the planet. I've put years of work seeing tens of thousands of peripheral neuropathy patients, working with some of the best diabetic endocrinologists, the best doctors, the best neurologists, in building out this book. For you, my viewers, we have a discount code available. Get on our mailing list and get that book down here.